I hadn't heard my mother's voice in 7 years. Not on birthdays. Not when I got my first promotion. Not even when I almost died in a car accident 3 winters ago. 7 years of silence isn't just quiet, it becomes a lifestyle. A carefully constructed wall. You stop checking your phone. You stop expecting anything. Eventually, you stop remembering what it felt like to care. And I was okay with that. Or at least, I told myself I was. The night it happened started like any other. It was raining, hard, relentless rain that turned the city into a blur of neon and reflections. I had just come back to my apartment, dropped my keys in the bowl near the door, and kicked off my shoes. Routine. Safe. Predictable. That's how I liked it. I microwaved leftover pasta, sat on the couch, and turned on some mindless TV show I wasn't really watching. My phone was face down on the coffee table, buzzing occasionally with work emails I planned to ignore until morning. Then it happened. A sound. Not a buzz. Not a notification chime. A call. I frowned. No one calls anymore, not unless it's important or bad news. I picked up my phone slowly, already bracing myself. Unknown number. I let it ring. Whoever it was, they could leave a voicemail. They always do. A minute later, the screen lit up again. Another call. Same number. This time, something felt off. I declined it again. Then the voicemail icon appeared. One new message. I didn't check it. By the time I finished eating, there were 5 missed calls. 5. From the same number. My chest tightened slightly, not panic, not yet, but something close. I tapped the voicemail icon. The first message began with static. Then, breathing. Soft. Uneven. And then a voice. Ethan? My fork clattered onto the plate. I froze. No. No, that's not possible. Ethan, if this is still your number, please, just listen. My mother. I hadn't heard that voice in 7 years, but I'd recognize it anywhere. It was older now, weaker somehow, but unmistakably hers. I ended the voicemail halfway through. My hands were shaking. This wasn't supposed to happen. I had made sure it wouldn't happen. I changed numbers. Moved cities. Cut off every mutual contact. I erased myself from that part of my life completely. So how did she find me? The phone buzzed again. Another voicemail. Then another. Then another. I stared at the screen as the number of messages climbed. 8. 12. 17. What the hell, I whispered. Who leaves this many voicemails? No one. Unless something is very, very wrong. I pressed play on the second message. I know you don't want to hear from me. I understand that. I do. But you have to know something, you were right. I stopped breathing. You were right. About what? My mind raced back, fragments of arguments, slammed doors, nights filled with shouting. Accusations I had made. Things no one believed. Things they told me I imagined. The third voicemail was worse. He's gone, Ethan. He left. Just like you said he would, just like you warned me. A chill ran down my spine. He. There was only one person she could be talking about. My stepfather. I stood up so abruptly the chair scraped loudly against the floor. No, I muttered. No, no, no. This wasn't happening. I had buried that part of my life. Locked it away. For a reason. The voicemails kept coming. 22. 29. 34. Each one more frantic than the last. I couldn't stop myself anymore. I played another. Please call me back. Please. I don't know who else to call. Things are not safe here. Not safe. Those two words hit harder than anything else. Because I knew exactly what she meant. The rain outside grew louder, pounding against the windows like it was trying to get in. My apartment suddenly felt smaller. Colder. Less safe. I checked the time. 2:17 a.m. Who leaves 30-plus voicemails in the middle of the night? Someone desperate. Someone scared. Or someone hiding something. I hovered over the call button. 7 years of silence. 7 years of anger. 7 years of telling myself I didn't care. And now this. One call could tear it all open again. Everything I worked to escape. Everything I swore I'd never go back to. The phone buzzed again. Voicemail number 43. The last one. I hesitated. Then pressed play. At first, there was nothing. Just silence. Then, a whisper. Ethan, if you don't call me back, they're going to find you too. The call button didn't feel optional anymore. I didn't press call. Not right away. My thumb hovered over the screen, trembling just enough to make me angry at myself. 7 years. 7 years of rebuilding my life from nothing, and now one voice, one word, one warning was enough to shake it? No. I wasn't that person anymore. I locked my phone and tossed it onto the couch. Bad idea. Instantly, the silence felt heavier. Like the room itself was waiting. Watching. Judging. They're going to find you too. Her words replayed in my head, over and over again. 2. That word mattered. It meant someone else had already been found. Or taken. Or hurt. I grabbed the phone again. Unlocked it. Opened the voicemails. Scrolled. 43 messages. 43 chances to understand what the hell was happening. I didn't start from the beginning this time. I went to the middle. Voicemail number 21. I should have believed you. Her voice cracked in a way I had never heard before. My mother didn't cry. Not when my dad left. Not when we lost the house. Not even when I packed my bags and walked out. But now? She sounded broken. You kept saying something was wrong with him. I thought you were just angry, just trying to push him away. A bitter laugh escaped my throat. Yeah, I muttered. That's what you thought. The memory came back fast. Too fast. Like it had been waiting for permission. 7 years ago. I'm telling you, Mom, he's lying. I was standing in the kitchen, fists clenched so tight my knuckles had gone white. He's not who you think he is. She didn't even look at me. She just kept washing the dishes, like this was background noise. Like I was background noise. Ethan, she said calmly, we've talked about this. No, I snapped. You talked. I tried to tell you the truth. She turned then, finally. But her eyes didn't soften. They hardened. You're making things up. Back in the present, I paused the voicemail. My jaw tightened. That sentence had followed me for years. You're making things up. I pressed play again. There were things in his office, documents, names. I didn't understand at first. My breath slowed. Names? What names? And then people started coming to the house, asking questions, strange questions. A cold knot formed in my stomach. This wasn't just about him leaving. Something else had happened. Something bigger. I skipped ahead. Voicemail number 32. I went to the police. Good, I thought. Finally. But then, they told me to stop asking questions. My grip on the phone tightened. What? One of them knew his name before I even said it. That wasn't normal. That wasn't even close to normal. I stood up and started pacing. This was spiraling into something I didn't want to believe. Didn't want to touch. Because if it was true, then I hadn't just been right. I had been in danger. I scrolled to another message. Voicemail number 37. There's a car outside the house every night. My chest tightened. It doesn't move, it just sits there. The rain outside my apartment suddenly felt louder. Sharper. Like static creeping into reality. I moved to the window without thinking. Pulled the curtain back just a little. The street below was mostly empty. Wet asphalt reflecting streetlights. A single parked car near the corner. Headlights off. Engine, maybe on? I couldn't tell. I let the curtain fall. Paranoia, I whispered. But the word didn't convince me. Back to the phone. Voicemail number 40. I found the box you hid. My heart stopped. No. No, no, no. The one in the attic. I closed my eyes. That box. I had buried it under old insulation, behind a broken panel. I thought no one would ever find it. Why didn't you tell me everything? Her voice was shaking now. Why didn't you tell me how serious it was? Because you didn't listen. Because you chose him. Because I was just a kid and no one believed me. I exhaled slowly, trying to steady myself. That box contained everything. Photos. Copies of documents. Notes I had written late at night when I couldn't sleep. Things I didn't fully understand, but knew were wrong. Dangerous. If she found it, then maybe others had too. My phone buzzed again. Not a call. A message. Unknown number. I stared at it. Didn't open it. Didn't breathe. Then, slowly, I tapped the screen. One new message. You should have stayed gone. Every muscle in my body locked. A second message came immediately after. Now it's your turn to disappear. I dropped the phone like it burned me. It hit the floor with a sharp crack. The screen didn't break. But something else did. The illusion. The distance. The safety. This wasn't just my past anymore. It had found me. I backed away slowly, my eyes fixed on the phone like it might move on its own. Like it might watch me back. 7 years ago, I ran. I told myself I escaped. That I was free. But now? Now it felt like I had just been given a head start. And it was over. I didn't pick the phone up. Not for a full minute. Maybe longer. Time had this strange way of stretching when fear took over, like every second wanted to make sure you felt it. Really felt it. The messages sat there. Unread now, but not unknown. I knew what they said. I didn't need to look again. You should have stayed gone. Now it's your turn to disappear. This is a joke, I said out loud. But my voice didn't sound convinced. I forced myself to move. Slow steps at first. Then quicker. I grabbed the phone from the floor and immediately checked the number. Unknown. Of course. No name. No location. Nothing to hold on to. I did the only thing that made sense. I turned off the lights. Darkness filled the apartment instantly, broken only by the dim glow of streetlights slipping through the curtains. My breathing sounded louder now. Too loud. I hated that. I moved back toward the window. Carefully this time. Quietly. I lifted the curtain just enough to see outside. The car was still there. Same spot. Same angle. But now. Headlights flicked on. I froze. The engine started. I could hear it now. A low hum cutting through the rain. Don't move, I whispered to myself. Like somehow that would make me invisible. The car didn't come closer. It didn't speed off either. It just sat there. Idling. Waiting. For me? I let the curtain drop again and stepped back. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was trying to escape. This wasn't random. This wasn't coincidence. This was connected. To her. To him. To that box. The box. I turned toward the hallway closet. Second shelf. Behind a stack of old jackets. That's where I kept the other things. The things I couldn't throw away. Even after everything. I pulled the door open and shoved past the clothes. My hand found the loose panel at the back. I slid it aside. And there it was. A thin black folder. For a second, I just stared at it. 7 years ago, this folder felt like proof. Like power. Like something that could finally make someone believe me. Now? It felt like a loaded weapon. I pulled it out and sat on the floor. Opened it slowly. The first thing inside was a photograph. A younger version of me stood across the street, pretending to look at my phone. But the real focus was behind me. A building. Plain. Gray. No signs. No windows on the lower level. I remembered taking this. I had followed him that day. 4 hours. Watched where he went. Who he met. I flipped to the next page. Documents. Printed emails. Names. Dates. Transfers. Large amounts of money moving between accounts that didn't look real. I never fully understood it back then. But I knew one thing. It wasn't legal. Another page. Another photo. This one was worse. Him. My stepfather. Standing with 2 men I didn't recognize. But their faces. Cold. Sharp. The kind of faces that didn't smile unless it meant something bad for someone else. I swallowed hard. Who are you? I whispered. Then I saw it. Something I had missed before. Or maybe something I hadn't understood. A symbol. It was on the wall behind them. Faint. Almost unnoticeable. A circle, with a line cutting through it diagonally. My chest tightened. Because I had seen it before. Recently. My hands moved before I could think. I grabbed my phone. Opened the messages. Zoomed in on the image attachment I hadn't even noticed earlier. There it was. At the bottom of the message. Barely visible. The same symbol. This wasn't just about him. This was bigger. Organized. Connected. A sudden knock echoed through the apartment. I jumped to my feet. The folder slipped from my hands, papers scattering across the floor. Knock. 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 3 slow, deliberate hits. My blood ran cold. No one knew I was here. No one should be here. Another knock. Louder this time. Ethan. My heart stopped. That wasn't my mother. That wasn't a stranger either. It was a man's voice. Calm. Controlled. Too controlled. Open the door, he said. We just want to talk. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Didn't exist. Silence followed. Heavy. Pressing. Then. A soft chuckle from the other side. You were always a curious kid, he continued. That's what got you into trouble back then. My hands curled into fists. He knew. He knew who I was. And now, he said quietly, it's happening again. A pause. You found something you shouldn't have. The floor beneath me felt unstable. Like reality itself was cracking open. I took a step back. Then another. Eyes locked on the door. Because I knew something now. Something clear. Something undeniable. 7 years ago. I didn't escape. They let me go. And now. They had come back to finish it. I didn't answer the door. Not because I was brave. Because I knew, deep down, that the moment I did, there would be no going back. Ethan, the voice said again, softer this time, almost patient. We're not here to hurt you. A lie. I could feel it. Not in the words, but in the calmness. People who mean no harm don't sound like that. I stepped backward, slowly, silently, until my back hit the wall. My eyes scanned the apartment. Door. Windows. Fire escape. Distance. Options. Last chance, he said. Something clicked outside. A small, metallic sound. My stomach dropped. Lock. They weren't waiting anymore. I moved. Fast. I grabbed the folder, shoved the loose papers inside, and sprinted toward the bedroom. Another sound. The door handle turning. Stop, the man's voice snapped. Not calm anymore. Too late. I slammed the bedroom door shut and locked it, my hands shaking so hard I almost missed the latch. My eyes darted to the window. 3rd floor. Fire escape just outside. A loud crack echoed through the apartment. Wood splintering. They were inside. Ethan, the voice called out again, now closer. Running will only make this worse. I shoved the window open. Cold rain hit my face instantly. Sharp. Real. Another crash. The front door giving way completely. Heavy footsteps. More than one. Of course. There was never just one. I climbed onto the windowsill, my shoes slipping slightly on the wet surface. For a second, I hesitated. 3 floors. One bad step and no. Better than staying. I climbed out. The metal fire escape groaned under my weight. Rain made everything slick, dangerous. I gripped the railing and started down. Fast, but careful. Behind me. The bedroom door slammed open. There, someone shouted. Too late. I was already moving. I skipped the last few steps and jumped the final distance to the ground. My knees hit hard, pain shooting up my legs, but I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. I ran. Rain soaked through my clothes instantly, turning the world into a blur of gray and movement. Footsteps echoed behind me. They were coming. I turned the corner. And froze. The car. The same one from earlier. Now parked right at the end of the alley. Engine running. Driver inside. Watching. A trap. I spun around. Wrong move. One of them was already there. Closer than I expected. Too close. He stepped forward slowly. No rush. Like he already knew how this would end. You're making this difficult, he said. Same voice. The one from the door. I finally saw his face. Mid-40s. Clean cut. Ordinary. That was the worst part. He didn't look dangerous. He looked like someone you'd trust without thinking twice. Stay back, I warned, my voice barely steady. He smiled. Not wide. Not dramatic. Just enough. You don't even know what you have, he said. I tightened my grip on the folder. I know enough. His eyes flicked to it. For just a second. But it was enough. Confirmation. That doesn't belong to you, he said. It never belonged to him either, I shot back. Something shifted in his expression. Not anger. Something colder. Your mother said the same thing, he replied. My chest tightened instantly. What did you do to her? Silence. That was worse than any answer. She was very persistent, he said finally. Where is she? I demanded. Another step closer. She made choices, he said. Just like you're making now. I took a step back. My heel hit something. The wall. No more space. Behind him, I could see the other man approaching. Slowly closing in. 2 directions blocked. Third blocked by the car. No exits. You have 2 options, the man said calmly. Of course I do. People like him always think they're generous. You come with us, he continued, and we fix this quietly. Or? I asked. A pause. Then. We erase the problem. Rain hit harder. Or maybe it just felt that way. My mind raced. No weapons. No help. No time. But I had one thing. Information. You think I didn't plan for this? I said suddenly. He stopped. Just slightly. Good. I made copies, I continued, forcing confidence into my voice. Everything in this folder? It's already out there. A lie. A big one. But I needed it. If I disappear, I added, so does your secret. Silence. Real silence this time. The man studied me carefully. Trying to read me. Find the crack. Smart, he said quietly. Then he smiled again. But not smart enough. My stomach dropped. Because in that moment, I realized something. He wasn't bluffing either. And whatever game I thought I was playing, I wasn't even close to understanding the rules. The rain didn't slow. If anything, it got heavier, like the night itself was closing in. The man in front of me tilted his head slightly, studying my face. Looking for hesitation. Fear. A crack. You made copies, he repeated. Not a question. A test. I held his gaze. Didn't blink. Didn't move. If anything happens to me, I said, you're exposed. Silence stretched between us. Long enough to hurt. Then, a phone rang. Not mine. His. The sound cut through the rain like a blade. Sharp. Sudden. Important. He didn't look away from me as he reached into his coat and pulled it out. Answered it. Yes. A pause. His expression changed. Barely. But I saw it. When? He asked. Another pause. Longer this time. No, he said quietly. That's not possible. Something inside me shifted. Hope? No, not hope. Opportunity. He turned slightly, just enough to break eye contact. Just enough. Are you sure it's her? He asked. My heart skipped. Her. Put him on, the voice on the phone said loudly enough that I could hear it. Him? The man hesitated. For the first time since this started. He hesitated. Then slowly. He turned back toward me. His eyes were different now. Less certain. More careful. Looks like your night just got more complicated, he said. He stepped forward and held the phone out toward me. Take it. Every instinct screamed at me not to. Now, he said, sharper. I took it. Slowly. Carefully. Like it might explode. Hello, my voice came out rough. Silence. For a second. Then. Ethan. I froze. That voice. No. No way. Miss me? She said. My grip tightened on the phone. Mom? A soft, shaky laugh came through the line. Yeah, she said. It's me. My mind couldn't process it. Didn't want to. He said you were, I stopped. Couldn't say it. Dead, she finished. Silence. I thought so too, she said quietly. Everything inside me twisted. Where are you? I asked quickly. Are you safe? A pause. Then. No, she said. Honest. Direct. Terrifying. I don't have much time, she continued. So you need to listen to me very carefully. The man in front of me watched closely. Listening. Measuring every word. They're not just cleaning up loose ends, she said. They're preparing to move everything. What does that mean? I asked. It means whatever you found, she said, that's just the surface. My stomach dropped. There's more, she added. A lot more. Of course there is. There's always more. Mom, I said, lowering my voice, they're here. Right now. I know, she replied instantly. Cold realization hit me. You know? Yes, she said. Because I'm the reason they came. The world tilted. What? I whispered. I led them to you. Everything stopped. The rain. The fear. My thoughts. Why? I asked. My voice didn't sound like mine anymore. Silence. Then. Because it was the only way to get to you before they did, she said. That doesn't make any sense. I snapped. It will, she said. Just trust me. Trust you? I cut in. After 7 years? After everything? I know, she said, her voice breaking. I know I don't deserve that. The man in front of me shifted slightly. Listening harder now. Then explain, I demanded. A breath. Deep. Heavy. Your stepfather, she said slowly, he wasn't just involved. I felt it coming. Something bad. Something worse than I expected. He was running it. My chest tightened. What? I whispered. The money, the names, the people, she continued. It all went through him. That didn't feel real. He used us, she added. Our home, our lives, everything was a cover. I shook my head slightly. No. I would have known. You did know, she said softly. That hit harder than anything. You tried to tell me, she continued. And I didn't listen. Silence fell between us again. Heavy. Different this time. Where are you? I asked again. A pause. Then. Closer than you think. A sudden noise echoed behind the man. Tires. Fast. Approaching. Everyone turned. A black SUV screeched into the alley, stopping hard between us and the car. Doors flew open. Armed men stepped out. Not the same ones. Different. More aggressive. More urgent. The man in front of me swore under his breath. Looks like, he muttered, we're all out of time. My phone crackled. Ethan, my mother's voice said urgently, when they move, run. Gunshots exploded through the alley. Chaos. And suddenly, the night wasn't just dangerous anymore. It was war. The first gunshot shattered everything. It echoed through the alley like thunder, loud, violent, impossible to ignore. Then came another. And another. Move, someone shouted. I didn't think. I ran. The world blurred into motion, rain, shadows, bodies moving in every direction. The man in front of me grabbed my arm. Hard. Stay with me if you want to live, he barked. I twisted, trying to pull free. Why would I trust you? You don't, he snapped. You survive. Another gunshot cracked past us, hitting the wall behind with a sharp spark. Too close. Way too close. That decided it. I moved with him. We ducked behind a dumpster as bullets tore through the space where I had been standing seconds ago. My heart was out of control now. Too fast. Too loud. Who are they? I shouted over the noise. Not your friends, he replied dryly, pulling out a gun. Great. That clears nothing up. He leaned out, fired twice, precise, controlled. Not random. Not panicked. Whoever this guy was. He knew exactly what he was doing. Listen to me, he said, grabbing my jacket and forcing me to look at him. You think this is about your stepfather? Yes. I snapped. It's not, he said. Another crack of gunfire. Closer. Then what is it about? I demanded. You, he said. That hit harder than the bullets. Before I could respond, a voice cut through the chaos. Ethan! I turned. Time slowed. A figure stood near the SUV. Soaked in rain. Hair stuck to her face. Breathing hard. My mother. Alive. Right there. Come with me, she shouted. Everything inside me pulled toward her instantly. 7 years disappeared in a second. But the man beside me didn't move. Don't, he said. I snapped toward him. That's my mother. Yes, he said. And that's exactly why you shouldn't go. Another shot rang out. Closer to her this time. She flinched, but didn't move back. Ethan, now, she screamed. My chest felt like it was tearing in two. Make a choice, the man said coldly. Choice. Go with her. Or stay with him. Neither felt safe. Both felt like a trap. Who are you? I demanded. A pause. Just for a second. Then. Someone who's been watching you longer than you think. Not helpful. Who is she working for? I pressed. His jaw tightened slightly. That's the problem, he said. We don't know anymore. A burst of gunfire forced us both down again. I looked back at her. She was closer now. Running toward us. Dodging shots. Desperate. Ethan, she said, her voice breaking as she got closer, please. That word. Please. She never used to say that. Not to me. Not back then. I messed up, she said. I know I did, but we don't have time for this. Stop, the man beside me shouted, raising his gun slightly, not aiming, but ready. She froze. They stared at each other. And in that moment, I saw it. Recognition. You, she whispered. You shouldn't be here, he replied. I had no choice, she shot back. You had every choice, he said sharply. And you picked wrong. My head spun. You know each other? I asked. Neither answered immediately. That was answer enough. Ethan, my mother said quickly, stepping closer, he's not who you think he is. Funny, the man replied. I was about to say the same thing. Gunfire erupted again, closer, louder, forcing all of us tighter into the narrow space. They're closing in, the man muttered. We're out of time, my mother said. Then tell him the truth, he snapped. Silence. Rain poured down harder. My mother looked at me. Really looked at me. For the first time in years. And I saw it. Guilt. Fear. Regret. I wasn't just protecting him, she said quietly. My stomach dropped. I was part of it. The words hit like a bullet. What? I whispered. I didn't know everything, she rushed, but I knew enough, and I stayed. No. No, no. I thought I was keeping us safe, she said, tears mixing with rain. I thought if I didn't ask questions. You were helping them, I cut in. Silence. That's why they came for you, the man said beside me. Not because of what you found. Because of who you are. My chest tightened again. What does that mean? I asked. Neither of them answered. That was worse. Another SUV pulled into the alley. More men. More guns. We were outnumbered now. Badly. They're here for him, my mother said. Of course they are, the man replied. For me? I snapped. Yes, both of them said at the same time. Great. Why? I demanded. Another pause. Another look between them. And then, the man said it. Because your stepfather didn't just run the operation. My heart pounded. He was building a replacement. Silence. Then. You. Everything stopped. The rain. The noise. The world. No, I whispered. But deep down, something felt wrong. Familiar. Like a memory I never fully understood. Late nights. Strange conversations. Tests. Lessons that didn't make sense back then. Oh my God, I breathed. They've been looking for you, my mother said. 4 years. Not to kill you, the man added. A beat. To finish what he started. Gunfire erupted again. Closer than ever. And suddenly, I understood something terrifying. Running wasn't enough anymore. Because no matter where I went, I was the reason this had started. And maybe the only way it could end. No, I said again, louder this time. That's not possible. But even as I said it, memories started surfacing. Uninvited. Unwelcome. Late nights at the kitchen table. My stepfather sitting across from me, calm as ever. Not angry. Not distant. Focused. Think faster, Ethan. A puzzle in front of me. Numbers. Patterns. I remember solving them. Quickly. Too quickly for my age. Another memory. Again. A different test. Recognizing faces from photographs. Dozens of them. I never forgot one. Another. Details matter. He would show me a room for 10 seconds. Then ask me to describe everything. Every object. Every shadow. Every tiny change. I always got it right. Back in the alley, my breathing grew uneven. That wasn't normal, I whispered. No, the man beside me said. It wasn't. My mother looked away. Like she couldn't bear to see the realization hit me. He wasn't just raising you, the man continued. He was training you. For what? I asked. Neither of them answered immediately. Gunfire cracked again, forcing us lower. Closer together. Closer to the truth. For control, my mother said finally. I turned to her sharply. He believed people could be shaped, she continued. Conditioned. Made into something useful. A chill ran through me. He wanted someone who could think like him, the man added. But better. My stomach twisted. And when you started asking questions, my mother said quietly, he realized he was losing control. That's when I left, I said. No, the man corrected. That's when they let you leave. Silence. Because I knew he was right. If they wanted you gone back then, he continued, you wouldn't have made it out the front door. The truth hit hard. 7 years. I thought I escaped. But I was never the target. I was the investment. A sudden explosion echoed at the end of the alley. Closer. Way closer. They're pushing in, the man muttered. We need to move, my mother said. Where? I snapped. There's nowhere to go. There is, she said quickly. But you're not going to like it. Try me. She hesitated. Just for a second. We go back. I stared at her. Back where? I asked. But I already knew. The house, she said. No, I said instantly. Ethan. No, I repeated, louder. I'm not going back there. That place wasn't a house. It was a memory I spent 7 years trying to forget. It's the only place they won't expect, she insisted. She's right, the man added. I looked at him. You too? They think you'll run, he said. Disappear. That's what you did last time. And this time? This time, he said, you do the opposite. Gunshots echoed again, closer, sharper. A bullet slammed into the metal beside us, sending sparks into the air. No time left. Ethan, my mother said, stepping closer. There's something there you need to see. I've seen enough. No, she said, her voice firm now. You haven't. That stopped me. Because for the first time. She didn't sound scared. She sounded certain. What? I asked. A beat. Your name, she said. Confusion hit instantly. My name? It's not just a name, she said. It's a key. Okay, now nothing made sense. What are you talking about? I demanded. The man beside me exhaled slowly. He really didn't tell you anything, he muttered. Tell me what? I snapped. Another explosion, closer this time. The fight was moving in. Fast. No more time, the man said. Decision. Now. My heart pounded. My mind raced. Go back to the place I escaped from. Or stay here and get caught in whatever this was. Neither option felt right. But one felt necessary. I looked at my mother. Really looked this time. For years, I told myself she chose him over me. Now? Maybe she chose survival. And regretted it every day since. Fine, I said finally. Relief flashed across her face. But if this is another lie. It's not, she said. The man nodded once. Then let's move. We broke from cover. Running straight through the chaos. Bullets flew past us. Voices shouted. Engines roared. But none of it mattered now. Because for the first time since this started, I wasn't running away. I was running toward the truth. And something told me, whatever was waiting in that house was going to change everything. Rain pounded the street as we ran. Bullets tore through puddles around us. Sparks from metal and broken glass cut through the dim light. I didn't look back. Couldn't. All I could see was her, my mother, moving with the precision of someone who had survived far too much. And beside her, the man who had once threatened me now moved as my only shield. We reached the house. The place I had spent 7 years trying to forget. The place that had almost broken me as a kid. It looked abandoned. Like the storm had swallowed it whole. But I knew better. "This is it," my mother said quietly. "Inside, everything changes." I hesitated at the threshold. The door creaked open, and a familiar smell hit me. Dust, old wood, and fear. I stepped inside. The foyer was dark. Shadows stretched across the walls like long fingers. I froze. Something about this house felt alive. Watching. Waiting. "Follow me," my mother whispered. She moved toward the staircase leading to the upper floor. I glanced at the man beside me. He gave a slight nod. Upstairs, the hallway stretched into darkness. And then I saw it. A door I had never noticed as a kid. The door was old, heavy, and unassuming. A simple wooden panel. But something about it screamed danger. My mother turned to me. "Behind this door," she said, "is why they want you. And why your stepfather wanted you trained." I swallowed. "What is it?" She hesitated. For the first time in years, fear flickered across her face. Then she opened the door. Inside was a small room, almost a closet, lined with shelves. Boxes. Files. Photographs. Documents, like the ones I had found years ago, but more organized. And in the center, a single, locked glass case. My breath caught. "Open it," the man beside me said. I approached cautiously. My fingers trembling as I lifted the lock. Inside, a single envelope. It had my name on it. Ethan Cole. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside were papers, photographs, and a small flash drive. The photos. They were me. But younger. With strangers. With my stepfather. With men in suits I didn't recognize. The documents. All classified. Names, dates, operations I didn't understand, but instinctively recognized as dangerous. And then I saw the final page. A birth certificate. A different name at the top. Not Ethan Cole. Something else. "You weren't born to be ordinary," my mother said softly behind me. "Your name, your life, was designed for something bigger." I staggered back. What does this mean?" "It means," she said, "your stepfather didn't just train you to survive. He trained you to replace him." I froze. Everything clicked into place. The puzzles. The tests. The games. The phrase from before, replacement. I wasn't just a kid in danger. I was the heir to something sinister. Something I had unknowingly carried inside me all along. "You're the key," my mother whispered. The operation, it was never about him. It was always about you. A sudden crash downstairs made us all jump. "They're inside," the man said. "Ethan," my mother said, urgency in her voice, this is your choice. You can run, or you can take control. My mind reeled. Run? That wasn't an option anymore. Take control? Could I even? I clenched my fists. Something inside me clicked. The training. The tests. The puzzles. It all came together. I take control, I said, my voice steady. My mother's eyes widened. Relief. Fear. Pride. The man beside me nodded. Good, he said. Because they won't stop. From downstairs came voices. Shouts. Footsteps. Guns cocking. I looked at the flash drive in my hand. And for the first time, I felt something I hadn't in 7 years. Power. Power to end it. Or change it. Power to survive. Power to rewrite everything. And as the first intruder reached the top of the stairs, I knew one thing. The game was no longer about escape. It was about who would control the outcome. The footsteps on the stairs grew louder. I felt every heartbeat like a drum inside my chest. No more running. No more hesitation. It was my turn. I gripped the flash drive tightly. Every memory, every test, every puzzle from my childhood came rushing back. I could remember the way my stepfather trained me to read patterns, anticipate moves, think 3 steps ahead, even under pressure. They were coming. I was ready. The first intruder rounded the corner. Fast. Armed. Confident. I stepped forward. Calm. Focused. Stop, I said. My voice carried more weight than I expected. He froze. And that's when it hit me. I remembered. The drills. The simulations. Every time my stepfather had made me anticipate attacks. I moved before he did. A shove. A pivot. The gun went flying. The intruder hit the floor hard, groaning. Another man followed. I ducked instinctively, grabbed his wrist mid-swing, twisted, and sent him crashing into the wall. It was happening. I was doing it. I was the replacement. Behind me, my mother and the man I had begrudgingly trusted moved into defensive positions. She looked at me with wide eyes, pride, fear, disbelief all mixed together. More intruders reached the top of the stairs. I paused for a moment. Calculated. I could feel the patterns of their movement. Predictable. Standard. They hadn't trained like I had. I struck. Each motion precise, each strike calculated. By the time the last man reached me, I was ready. But then, a familiar voice stopped me. Ethan, don't. I turned. My mother. Her expression was not fear. Something else. Guilt. Regret. What? I asked. They're my people, she whispered. My blood ran cold. Wait, what? I shouted. They're loyal to me, she said. All of this was my plan. My way to get him to see you. To train you, so you could survive. Everything shifted in my mind. All the chaos. All the danger. She had orchestrated it. The calls. The threats. The intruders. You lied to me. I shouted. Yes, she said, tears streaming. I lied to protect you. To make sure you would be ready. You had to survive everything I couldn't shield you from. A pause. Silence. And then, the real betrayal hit. She said quietly, your stepfather, he's gone. But his people, they still follow orders. Orders I gave them. I stared at her. Everything I thought I knew, gone. Everything I trusted, blurred. Another intruder charged. I reacted instinctively, taking him down without thinking. But my mind was racing. If she controlled these people, what else had she controlled? Ethan, she said softly, stepping closer. You have to trust me. You are the only one who can finish this. The only one who can survive. I looked around at the chaos. The intruders, the rain, the gunfire, the flashes of movement. And I realized something terrifying. I was no longer a child. I was no longer just a survivor. I was something else entirely. The man beside me nodded. Now you take control, he said. No more hiding. No more running. I clenched my fists, exhaled, and stepped forward. The intruders didn't know it yet, but the game had changed. And as I moved through the chaos, striking with precision, predicting every attack, I realized one thing. The world had prepared me for this moment my entire life. And now, I was ready to claim it. Rain hammered the house like an unrelenting drum, thunder shaking the walls as chaos raged around us. I moved with lethal precision, every motion a memory of years of training under my stepfather. Every test, every drill, every puzzle had led to this moment. The intruders came in waves, but I was no longer a child afraid. I was calculating, anticipating, striking before they even realized I was there. Gunfire, shouts, and crashes filled the hallway. I ducked behind a wall, pivoted, and disarmed one man in a fluid motion I barely even felt. Another came at me with a knife. I sidestepped, twisted his wrist, and slammed him into the wall. Then I heard her voice behind me. Ethan, be careful. I spun. My mother, soaked, desperate, yet commanding, stood there. Her eyes met mine. I know what I did, she said. All the lies, the manipulations, it was to protect you. To make sure you survived. I swallowed hard, my body still moving automatically as intruders poured in. Protect me? I shouted over the chaos. You let them come for me, let them train me like a weapon. She stepped closer. Yes, she admitted. But it worked. You're ready now. You are the replacement. The only one who can finish what he started, and survive. My mind snapped back to the flash drive in my hand, the files, the photographs, the proof of everything my stepfather had built and all the secrets hidden from me. It wasn't just survival anymore. It was control. Another intruder lunged from the shadows. I reacted instantly. Using his momentum, I threw him into a wall, sending him sprawling into another group of attackers. Chaos exploded around me, but I moved through it with focus, a predator in the storm. Then I saw him. The figure I had dreaded most. My stepfather's lieutenant, his right-hand man, the one who had trained me in shadows without my knowing. He stepped out of the darkness, gun aimed, calm as ever. You've grown, he said quietly. Too fast. Too prepared. I am who I was meant to be, I replied, voice steady. Not yours. Not anyone else's. Mine. He laughed softly. Then prove it. We clashed. Hands, feet, movement faster than thought. Each of us anticipating the other, reading the subtle cues, exploiting the tiniest mistake. But I was stronger, sharper, more precise. Finally, I disarmed him. He stumbled, and I pressed him against the wall, chest to chest. "Tell me the truth," I demanded. "Everything." "Why me?" He smiled faintly. "You always were the key. The heir to everything." He didn't want a successor who could think. He wanted one who could surpass him. "And you finally have." I pushed him back. I didn't want to kill him. I wanted him to see. To understand that the child he had trained to be his weapon had become independent, unpredictable, unstoppable. Downstairs, my mother moved with precision, taking out attackers, giving me the space I needed. She wasn't just protecting me now, she was fighting alongside me. I finally caught my breath, stepping back. Rain streaked my face, blending with sweat and blood. The house was silent except for the storm outside. I turned to my mother. "So, what now?" I asked, voice low. She looked at me, proud, exhausted, and full of regret. "Now, you decide. You have the knowledge, the skill, the power. You can leave this behind, or you can finish what he started and take control of it." I looked at the files. At the flash drive. At the life my stepfather had created and tried to force me into. I realized something crucial. I wasn't a victim. I wasn't a weapon. I was the master of my own fate. "I decide," I said finally. "I survive, on my terms." We gathered what we could. My mother nodded. "You did it," she whispered. I left the house that night, rain washing over me. Behind me, the chaos remained. But in front of me, the first step of freedom. 7 years of silence. 7 years of lies. 7 years of fear. And now, it was over. Not by running. Not by hiding. But by becoming exactly what I was always meant to be. I was Ethan Cole. But more than that. I was the one who decided. The storm faded as dawn approached. The world was quiet now. And for the first time in 7 years, I felt truly free.